The Ordinary have just announced that their annual 23% off sale is moving from November to April. So I thought I should jump on here and share my view on some of their best and worst products so you don't buy the wrong ones. But even if you're watching this after the sale is finished, these products still represent the best and worst of The Ordinary, in my opinion. Now, I should probably say this video isn't sponsored, and I don't get a kickback from anything you do or don't buy. Now, I like The Ordinary's affordable science-first approach to skincare, and as you can see from my skincare empties from the first 4 months of this year, they've got a lot of products that I like. But for this video, I'm stripping it all back, and I'm just going to share my top 5 products from The Ordinary. A couple of their products that actually piss me off a little bit, and if you make it through to the end, I'll share the Korean equivalent of The Ordinary that should without a doubt be on your radar. We haven't met. Hello, I'm Kirk. I'm a skin enthusiast studying to become an advanced SIBTAC qualified facialist because I'm that goddamn enthusiastic. My mission is to help men in their 30s look less tired and more rested without complex routines or hype. If you're in your 30s and you want to look less tired and more rested, I've created a free skin reset guide linked down below that just tells you what to buy and what to do that will deliver results from 6 weeks of consistency. But if you want to take a more active approach to your skincare and you're already regularly applying SPF daily, because let's face it, if you're not, everything we're going to talk about in this video won't change a thing, then this video is for you. Okay, so the first product we're going to talk about is the Ordinary's multi-peptide and copper peptide 1% serum. Now, this product is an absolute banger for anyone over 30 who wants to stimulate and increase the amount of collagen and elastin within their skin. It's got something called copper tripeptide 1 in it, along with a smorgasbord of different peptides. That copper tripeptide sends signals to the dermis, which is that second layer of your skin underneath the epidermis, that top layer. And what those signals do is they stimulate wound healing and stimulate that production of collagen and elastin. Now, of course, as we get into our 30s and beyond, the amount of collagen and elastin that we have in our skin starts to decline, which effectively starts to make us gradually age and look slightly older. But this product, as I say, is sending those signals down to that second layer and helping to stimulate them, helping reduce wrinkles, fine lines, and the peptides that are inside here as well also come together to help stimulate some of that collagen. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I've read all of the scientific studies because I haven't, but from the research that I have done, my understanding is that there's been a limited amount of clinical trials that actually test the effectiveness of this. So it's almost a secondary or supportive ingredient to your tried and tested retinols, vitamin C's, and anything else that you're using. And it's probably something you need to start using consistently over a few weeks to a few months, and even maybe longer than that, to start seeing those results. But I've got to say, from my experience of using this, I really liked it a lot. First time I put this on, it actually started to plump my skin and it actually made a real impact, or at least I thought it did. And I have seen some long-term skin improvement over using it consistently for about 3 months. Something I should probably point out though is that it doesn't mix with any retinoids you're using, tretinoin, retinol. And so if you're using it at night, you can't apply it at the same time. It also doesn't mix with L-ascorbic acid, which is the pure form of vitamin C. So if you've got one of those types of vitamin Cs that only lasts for a month or so, or however long it is, and it's an L-ascorbic acid, you can't apply it at the same time or during the same routine. However, if you're using a vitamin C derivative, like the Dr. Althea that I mentioned in the Skin Reset Guide, and also like the Theramid one, which I quite often talk about and also is in the guide, then you can apply it at the same time. So if you're using a vitamin C derivative, it's all good. But if you're using that pure L-ascorbic acid form of vitamin C, it doesn't mix with that. I've also read online in some of the different Reddit forums that some people find this one a bit irritating. It hasn't been my experience unless I've really damaged my skin barrier. I think there's once I damaged my barrier by using quite a lot of glycolic acid, and I found that when I applied this, it stung a little bit. But apart from that, I haven't found that experience at all. The other thing that's probably worth pointing out is that for a product from The Ordinary, it's expensive. In the UK, it's about £28 before any discount, which also is one of the reasons why I'm going to be stocking up on it during the sale. But I think it's probably got some good reason for that. As I say, it's got that copper tripeptide, and it's also got that smorgasbord, I love that word, of different types of peptides as well. I would say it's actually probably cheaper than a lot of the other copper tripeptide and peptide products out there. There's a similar product from Allies of Skin that, from my understanding, does something pretty similar and has got a similar-ish type of formulation. That was £190. I haven't used it, so I can't do a like-for-like comparison. But obviously, that's a big step up from £28, which is this one. So is it worth actually trying? Well, if you're in your 30s and you're thinking about healthy aging or well aging, and you've got the basics down already, SPF, vitamin C, retinoid, I think without a doubt it's a brilliant product, and it's definitely one of the favorite ones that I've got in my routine, and it's not going anywhere for me. The next product we're going to talk about seems to keep going viral for the ordinary online, but with that, especially on TikTok, there seems to be a lot of misinformation about it. I think the product's an absolute banger and definitely one that I'm going to be stocking up on during the sale, but maybe not for the reasons that a lot of people use it for online. It is, of course, the infamous, the legendary, ordinary 7% glycolic acid, which of course is an AHA alpha hydroxy acid. The key thing to know about these AHA alpha hydroxy acids, typically they penetrate the skin quicker, making them a little bit harsher and maybe can be slightly more irritating than a BHA acid, for example. Exfoliators like this 7% glycolic acid and can be great for helping to exfoliate, so getting rid of any dead skin cells that you've got, leading to a bit more of a fresher, more youthful appearance. And also over time, glycolic acid can help support the production, or stimulate the production, I should say, of collagen. Now, like I said, I always think of my face as relatively resilient. And yet, when I apply this product to my face hates it. I've only done it twice, and both times it was quite a good space apart, and I used quite strong tretinoin, 0.05% tretinoin. When I apply this product to my face, I find that it just starts to get really itchy and scratchy, and I just want to wash it off really quickly. So if you're looking for a glycolic acid to apply to your face, the one I use, and that I actually think is probably better, is actually this one here from Medicaid, which is a sleep glycolic acid. Is 10%, so it's actually a little bit higher in terms of strength. I find I just apply it onto my face, and then the next morning, if I've got an event or something, I've got a really nice glow and look to my face. I'm assuming it's something to do with the way that it's been formulated by Medicaid that just makes it that little bit softer or easier for my skin to tolerate. But yeah, if you're looking for a face glycolic, I think this is the one to go for. Why am I stocking up on the ordinary 7% glycolic acid? Well, I think this is exceptional when it comes to something to use on your body. What I've done is I've gone to B&M, which is a shop here in the UK, quite a cheap shop to be honest, and I've purchased one of these spray bottles, and effectively what I've done is just decanted it into here, and then over time I just spray this on my body periodically after I got out of the shower. And I found it's brilliant, and putting it in a spray bottle like this is awesome. Obviously, the skin in your body is typically a little bit thicker, and so can withstand slightly more aggressive exfoliation than your face, or definitely than my face. So what are some of the best ways to use this glycolic acid for? Well, as I say, I like to spray it over my body maybe once or twice a week, avoiding any tattoos or any sensitive areas. And I use it for exfoliation, so clearing out any of those dead skin cells and also helping to stimulate a little bit of collagen and elastin production. If you've got dark knees or elbows or crusty elbows, I found applying a little bit of this glycolic acid along with 10% or higher urea to be brilliant at sorting those out. And also a lot of people like to use it for preventing ingrown hairs and dark underarm areas. Now, I've also seen a lot of people online talking about how they use this as a deodorant or as an anti-dandruff treatment. And scientifically speaking, it shouldn't be used or doesn't work for either of those. I've sprayed it under my underarms to see, and my experiences, I think it actually did help prevent it a little bit, but scientifically speaking, that's not an official use for it. So, and also why you'd actually want to purchase this as opposed to just some regular old deodorant, I'm not too sure, to be honest with you. So, I mean, if you want to give it a go, spray it under your underarms and let me know your experience in the comments. And as I say, I think it did work for me, but that's definitely not official. And yeah, and for anti-dandruff. And there's a lot of anti-dandruff shampoos. We're not going to go into all of that here. But yeah, I think a lot of people say it's a good anti-dandruff solution, and it's not. Of course, when you're using glycolic acid as well, you need to be aware of the increased sun sensitivity that it causes. That increased exfoliation makes your skin even more receptive or more vulnerable to the sun. So if you are applying it, especially on your body, and you're going to be out in the sun, make sure you use your SPF. Now, if you damage your skin barrier with glycolic acid or tretinoin or any of the other exfoliators out there, or for some other reason, you're going to love this next product I'm going to talk about. Something I always keep stocked up in my arsenal. And it's also something I mentioned in my video about how to repair your skin barrier that should be popping up here now. And is definitely linked down in the description. And it is, I'm going to make sure I got the right one, of course, the Ordinary Soothing Barrier Serum, which you should be able to see now. So, maybe unsurprisingly, given the name, this is a product for anyone or any time that you've damaged your barrier or experiencing any irritation or, in that post-actives when your skin's a little bit more sensitive and goes red easily. Now, it's a product that, in my experience, whenever I have got a bit of irritation, it really does a great job at soothing the skin and just calming everything down. It helps rebuild lipids within the skin, obviously reducing the inflammation, and it helps support the repair process. Also contains Centella asiatica, which helps with healing. But something you should also be aware of is that it's got niacinamide in it. Now, the niacinamide helps repair signaling, but I also know it's quite a common ingredient for a lot of people to be maybe slightly reactive to. Personally, I found that when my barrier is particularly sensitive, I can be a little bit more sensitive to niacinamide. So it's something always to be aware of. And I typically find it's almost a second stage. Initially, when I'm ready, I'm just using maybe a bit of Vaseline and a really just clear moisturizer like the Esturato barrier. But then maybe 2 or 3 days later, when I'm ready to go up a next level, this is the type of thing that you can include that's got that niacinamide in it as well. So like I said, I think this is a really strong barrier support product and something that I would never be without and always keep in my skin arsenal. But be aware of the niacinamide. And if you have got a sensitive barrier and you start introducing it to your skin and you do get that reaction, it might be the niacinamide, but obviously I don't know your skin. And the other thing I forgot to say is it's pink. So the next product we're going to talk about is one of my all-time favorite winter moisturizers. But if you're someone that's got particularly oily skin or doesn't like the feeling of a thick, luxurious cream, or you live somewhere hot, you might want to skip on to the product number 5. But if not, if dry skin or that, as particularly in winter, is something you're into or is something that's of interest, you're going to love it. It is, of course, The Ordinary's natural moisturizing factors with photoceramides. So this is a product that covers all 3 of the key moisturization pillars. It's got humectants that pull in water, emollients that smooth and soften the skin, and it's got lipids and fatty acids that help build up and keep your skin barrier supported. So if you like a thick, luxurious feeling moisturizer, this could be a great one to stock up on. That's relatively affordable, especially during the sale. Now, the next product we're going to talk about is something that I think The Ordinary do best, which is take quite advanced skincare science and distill it into something more affordable and more accessible. It is, of course, The Ordinary's 15% growth factor solution. Now, when it comes to skincare, I don't think this is a product that I'd necessarily start with. You obviously want to make sure that you're cleansing, moisturizing, using SPF, vitamin C, retinoids, and probably even the copper tripeptides that we spoke about earlier. But if you've got all of that dialed in and you're looking for something more, maybe a kind of level 2 or level 3 type product, and you're looking for something affordable, this could be a good one to look at or experiment with. So where the copper tripeptide or copper peptide solution that we spoke about earlier sends signals into the skin, into the dermis at a second layer to actually help stimulate improvement, growth factors send signals to the skin. It's almost like the copper tripeptides are the repair crew, and these growth factors are more like the project manager. So they send instructions and help coordinate the way your cells behave and the way that repair actually happens. within the skin. Now, this growth factor solution from The Ordinary contains 3 types of growth factor. It's got epidermal growth factors, with epidermis, of course, being that top layer of skin, which helps support cell turnover. It's also got insulin growth factors that help with skin density, and it's got transforming growth factors as well, which help with collagen and repair. So it doesn't just send random signals into the skin, it's supposed to be sending signals that actually help improve or help enhance biological processes. And my understanding is that the research and science behind growth factors isn't as developed as some retinoids, vitamin C's, as well as even copper tripeptides. So I think it's maybe a good supporting ingredient that you might want to include or increase within your skincare routine. But obviously, the most important thing is consistency and making sure that you keep up with your skincare routine. And if you get too many steps, it might not be something you want to keep up or maintain. So they could be a great thing to play around with. I've used them. I use this quite a lot on my neck as well, and I do think that it's made a slight difference. But my understanding and reading is that this is really a long-term play, so it's something you need to use over a consistent period of time. But they're pretty affordable. So before any discounts, it's in the UK, it's £13.50, so it's about $15 US. So it can be a good thing to experiment with. But as I say, it's almost a kind of tier 2, tier 3 thing, which I think are nice to have, but I don't see them as an absolute game changer. But what's your experience? Let me know in the comments, because obviously I'm just one guy. If any of you have experienced some really transformational results using them, let me know. But as I say, I'd be surprised if that is the case. But yeah, obviously genuinely interested to hear. Which brings us on to some of the products which actually piss me off. And I think the reason they piss me off is because I hold The Ordinary in such high regard, because they're obviously making scientifically advanced skincare affordable. They're big enough so that they've got a relatively big and robust R&D department, so they've got some genuinely quite good science, amazing customer service, and things like running a whole month sale so you don't get caught up into panic buying. I like all of that kind of stuff about them. And they also run different schemes to help plant trees and save the planet. So there's a lot to like about them, I think. But they do piss me off a little bit because I just think they could be doing better in these spaces. So the first one that pisses me off is their salicylic acid product. And you might be thinking, Kirk, what's wrong with salicylic acid? It's a fairly standard salicylic acid. But that's the problem. It's just a salicylic acid. So, of course, salicylic acid, or BHA, beta hydroxy acid, is an exfoliating acid that typically is used for acne or congested skin, clogged pores. I know when it comes to marketing, particularly here in the UK, I don't think you can always advertise things as acne products, and there's rules and regulations that I don't fully understand, if I'm honest, when it comes to what you can and can't say. But more often than not, a salicylic acid is something that you want to use to help get rid of acne or spots or congestion. Now, it's an okay product, their salicylic acid, but it's just not that great. And I think they could, if they put their minds to it, make something so much better. I don't know if any of you have come across Paula's Choice. I've got a little one here and also a big one. It's it's their 2% BHA product, which is salicylic acid. This is what I think The Ordinary 2% salicylic acid should be. I find if I ever get a spot or a breakout, I apply a little bit of that, followed by this product here, which is a benzoyl peroxide. I just wanted to check the name. As you can see here, benzoyl peroxide. And I find it's just so much more effective at calming in any irritation, acne that I've got. This Paula's Choice product, it isn't just salicylic acid. It also contains a few other ingredients. I think it's got tea tree in it and a few other pieces. But yeah, like I said, I just think that The Ordinary could make a product like this. This Paula's Choice BHA is actually pretty expensive for what it is, I think. I know Paula's Choice got acquired and the prices have been going up. And I actually think there's a real opportunity for The Ordinary to come out with an equivalent of this, or maybe even an updated version that's more affordable and delivers the same results. I haven't tried this yet, but I discovered recently Superdrug, which is one of our drugstores here in the UK. They've got a 2% BHA toner, which should be flashing up on the screen now. And that, to me, feels almost like a dupe or a more affordable version of this Paula's Choice product. Paula's Choice product, as I say, it works. I think it's great. It's got a reputation for a reason. And I just want The Ordinary to have something like that. And their 2% salicylic acid, which I think is the best product they've got in this kind of category, is just nowhere near as good as a product like this. And that pisses me off. And the second product we've got to talk about, I've actually got some of, and it is their hyaluronic acid. So it's at 2% and B5. And my beef with this is that I don't really see the need for it. It's supposed to be a hydrating serum and a humectant that pulls water into the skin. So really, if you've got deep, dry or dehydrated skin and you're looking for a bit of hydration, it's supposed to be a good product to help you there. But of course, my experience, and I would say I'm someone that sometimes has a little bit of dry skin. I think just using a moisturizer or something like that is perfectly good enough. So why we actually need a product like this, I don't know. I mean, the Ordinary aren't unique in producing these. There's quite a lot of these hyaluronic acids out there. I just don't get their use. Personally, Torridon, a Korean brand, they've got their Dive-In serum, which is a really popular hydrating serum over in Korea. That one's much better. So it's just a product I don't really get the point of, and it almost seems to be meeting a need or a desire from the market, which shouldn't really exist. And I don't really know why it does. So yeah, pisses me off, just overconsumption and waste. If you made it this far in the video, I said that I would share with you guys the Korean equivalent of The Ordinary, which incidentally is one of my favorite skincare brands, like The Ordinary, and also one of my favorite Korean skincare brands. And it is, of course, a brand called Nineless. So Nineless have got a brilliant azelaic acid serum, which you can see here. I think it's much better than the one from The Ordinary. And they've also got a great kojic acid and good tranexamic acid products. Obviously, you want to shop around, and if you are going to buy any of the Nineless products, find the best place. But my experience is Stalvana. You often get the cheapest places to order from them. And if you go on Stalvana's website, on their Instagram or Facebook page, you can usually get some really good discount codes, which are better than anything any of the influencers online give out. If you enjoyed this video, you can watch me break down some of my favorite Korean skincare products here. If you're over 30 and you want a simple to follow routine that helps with healthy aging and just tells you what to do without any complexity or hype, the free Skin Reset guide is linked down below that will give you results within 6 weeks of consistency. But ideally, you want to be keeping it up for about 3 months plus to really see a big transformation. Anyway, thanks, and I'll see you in the next one.